Good evening, folks, and welcome to I think this is going to be part 2 of the Dansette Senior 3-speed Monarch. It's got the 3-speed BSR Monarch in it, one of the originals, the first, I believe, BSR auto changer that BSR made. The power lead will be okay on this. It's is a 3-pin. We'll put that out of the way because we're not going to be needing that for quite some time, so we can put that away. Put that over here, behind here, put it on top of that bush for now. That's not going to be needed for some time. Now I'm really looking forward to servicing this because I've not serviced one. It's the first time I've ever come across one of these, and I'm looking forward to getting into it. To get these screws off here, because these are the screws that hold the back panel in, and I removed them in part 1, and whereupon I discovered when I plugged it in that the rectifier had gone. So we know the rectifier valve has gone, and Phil ordered a replacement and had it sent directly to me. So we've got the replacement valve here for the rectifier, because I didn't really, because of the originality of this thing and how nice it is, I didn't want to botch it up. I didn't want to put diodes in it. I mean, diodes is not botching it up as such, but I didn't want to go that route. You know, I thought it best to leave the circuit original and put the valve in. It's a 6X5GT that this uses, so we'll put that out of the way for now because we don't quite need that just yet, so we'll put that there ready to go in. And I just need to slide across to get my glasses. And I also need to turn on my soldering iron. Always a good thing, always a good idea to have your iron on. Now, let's look at this item. It's basically it's a free valve. It's a free valve including rectifier. The speaker is actually badged as a BSR. It's a BSR speaker. I've never seen a BSR speaker. It's the first time I've seen one of those, so that's interesting. But this is basically a very similar amp to the G32 that's in my own Dansette, except mine's got a bass and treble, where this has just got a tone control and the obviously the on-off and volume. But mine has, yeah, this has actually had a couple of caps replaced in the past. Because them caps there, they're not original, I don't think they are anyway. A couple of blue capacitors there, they've been replaced in the past. So somebody's worked on this in the past, which is not surprising. I mean, someone's been in all of them. But so what we'll do, we'll start, as always, we'll start by removing the cartridge. Ooh, and that's an unusual animal under the arm. I've not seen one of them. Yeah, how does that come out? That's a stereo cartridge wired for mono. And it looks like they're only using 2 channels. Oh no, look at that. Would you believe it? There's a big blob of blue tack under the arm here, that'll have to go. We can't be having none of that. And I will have to put the extra 2 wires in for the other channel of the cartridge, because it's only running, it's only wired across one channel of the cartridge. So yeah, there's only one channel used. Can you take this out from the top, or does it have to come out from the... Let me have a look. No, it comes out there. We'll get the cartridge out. Turn it sideways and then you can get at the screws. So we need to put, I need to find 2 cartridge connectors. So we'll start with the usual procedure. We'll take it out of the cartridge. I'll turn this round now so I can work on it, because you've all seen it. I'll turn it round now so I can work on it comfortably and make life easier for myself. Very carefully, because I want to be very careful with this. It's not mine. And there we go. We're now in the position I like to work in. Right, there's only one screw by the look of that holding the cartridge in, so not too concerned about that. That's only a minor problem. So we'll start by taking the cartridge out. Let's just clean my glasses. Would help, wouldn't it? Be able to fucking see through the damn things. I mean, you can't see, so I'll lift you up actually so you can see the tone arm and stuff. I mean, the deck on this is, you know, it's actually near mint. I can only see one scratch on it, which is at the front here. And that might not even be a scratch. Might be a blob of shite. Right. Let's just lift you up a bit. That's the wrong way. Hang on. There we are. There we go. And well, I've took my bloody glasses off, idiot. Right. And this is all hand wired. And December. Is it? Oh no, it's not. I thought that was the date on the capacitor. It's not. It will have a date on the capacitor. I generally date them from that. I generally date them from the capacitor, from the date that's on it. Yeah, it looks like there's only one screw in it. There could be 2, but no, there's only one. One screw. Looks like somebody might have even bloody glued the damn thing in. There we go. Let that drop out onto the mat. There we go. There's the other screw. It's a bit out of the way. Yeah, there's 2 screws in it. Looked like there was only one. No, we're not quite all the way out. Come on, you fucker. Move over there. It's a bit dark under here. Mind you, I've not got my other light on, have I? Couldn't turn my other light on in a second. There we go. Right, let's just go and turn my other light on, and then we'll get this cartridge out. I've not got my other light on, I thought it was dark. Because I normally have 2 lights. I have one behind me, well, the one in the middle of the room, and the one above my bench. There we go. Brightens everything up a bit. Yeah, oh, right. Yeah, this is basically, I'm guessing, let's take the cartridge screws and put them in that tub. But it looks like they're only using one channel of the cartridge, whoever wired this thing up, and they're not putting them connectors on very well. Never mind, that'll all get addressed. Let's pull this cartridge, that came off with no effort. Right, and what we'll do, we'll test the cartridge. We'll get the signal tracer on, and we'll test the cartridge and knock everything else off the shelf. I mean, it's no great detriment if the cartridge is knackered in this, because it's a decent amplifier, so it can use. Just wait for this to warm up. Yeah, somebody's been in this before me, because there's modern capacitors in the tone circuit. There we go. This cartridge is not an original. It's a reproduction by the look of it. It could be, but I don't think it is. I think it's a reproduction. Let's test it anyway, because it looks too new. That channel's good. That one doesn't seem to be. Let's clip it, make sure we're on here properly. What I'm going to do, I'm going to clip it. I want to make sure we're not. That channel of the cartridge ain't working. Don't think. No. One side of the cartridge is dead. Yeah. That side's completely dead. Let's clip it across both the negative pins. That side's good. That side's not. Oh, it is now. Must have a loose pin on the cartridge. Yeah. Must have a loose pin. Yeah, I'm just trying to work out, folks, which one's which. You know, which one's loose out of the two. Let's clip that the other way around, because I think it's the bottom one that's loose. Let's try and find out, because I might be able to do something about it. If I can do that, shorten the input. There we go. Right. That side's okay. That side isn't. So anyway, we'll get back to that. We'll put that up there out of the way for safety. Put the cartridge, just put it on the windowsill there for safety. That's cool. Be alright up there, that. and we'll turn the signal tracer off. So one side of the cartridge needs to be looked at. See if I can do out with that. Sometimes you can spray a bit of switch cleaner in and get away with it. Other times you can't. But either way, we'll get that sorted. So, right. Clip that back down. Now I've got to be very, very careful with this. Because, oops. Yeah, that just sort of swings across. And this mat here, this lets the side down, doesn't it? That's off a modern record player. I'll have to cut that down to size. We can't have that going back on like that. So we'll put the mat out of the way so I don't get it contaminated, because we are going to have to reuse it, although I'm going to have to trim it slightly. Right. Yeah, that sounds a bit rattly. Anyway, let's start by, because I think if you remove these two screws here, I think you just lift these decks out. I mean, the motor board will have to come out as well, but yeah, I think you just put this tub at the side of me here for the screws to go into. Move the arm out of the way. So I'm going to have to put the extra wires in for the cartridge, which is no problem. I won't put them in coming up through the arm, I'll just connect them to here. But I should actually have some cartridge clips knocking about somewhere. Those screws are not original. These brass ones in here are not either. They're in keeping, but they're not original. Somebody's put all new screws in this. Now this should lift out, but it doesn't. So the transit screws must be under the turntable. So let's remove the turntable. This turntable's certainly been off before. You can see where somebody scratched it getting the clip off. I'll put the clip in there. Lift that off. Yeah, it's the same as that one of. It's the same idea of that one of Graham's, the mouse piss one. The transit screws. You take them out here. It's the same idea. Let's have a feel of the idler. Don't feel too bad. The speed mechanism works the same way as well. It's got the same motor. Ooh, that's tight. Whoa, somebody didn't want that come out in a hurry. Jesus! Yeah, someone didn't want that come out in a hurry, did they? But get them loose and I can get the nuts off the bottom in a minute. That one weren't tight, not as tight as that one. It has to come off the motor board to be serviced. There we go. Ooh, that one's tight and all. Whoa! Wow! Whoever put them in didn't want them coming back out. Yeah, see what we've got under here. I mean, all this might have even been recapped. I do not know, because there's some new capacitors in it. But you know, there's a couple of new capacitors in the tone circuit that's been messed with, so we'll see. Might only be a matter of just servicing the deck on this, because if it's been recapped recently, then there we go. But it's had a power lead. It's had an earth put on it by somebody. It probably came with an earth, but it's been redone because that's not factory. Where it's been fitted, it's not a factory. Not that it's fitted wrong. It's not. But it's not a factory. These screws have all been replaced. These are all new screws, these, because there's no tarnish on them. And after 60 odd years you'd expect to find some, so leads me to the conclusion that this has been done. Somebody that way even tight that one. To slide that right along there because I can't get the bloody washer. There we go. One more screw should be, and then we can reveal. This is a nice record player. This has got like a sort of like a snakeskin, sort of like a snakeskin effect. You know, it's really nice. You know, that was before Dansette started. It looks sort of wavy, like a snakeskin. It is. It's not. Obviously, won't be snakeskin, but it's a very good imitation. It's not bad. So what we'll do, we'll put the control arm over the top there, and this lifts out from the back because the. There we go. Now let's. Right. Yeah, somebody's put I hope I can get this fucking deck off the bastard motorboard, because somebody's put fucking double nuts on it. I wonder if I can do the bastard thing. Right, well we'll start by doing that there. Somebody's put a chock block on, which is no bad thing. It's no bad thing. I mean, I'm not happy with the way that power lead socket's wired. There's bare wires there. I'm not happy with that. So that'll be addressed. I'll rewire that to my specification. But we're a long way from any of that yet. We've first got to get the amplifier looked at and the deck looked at, and luckily enough they put a chock block in this, and I don't normally say that. Luckily enough, the screws weren't fucking tight though. Right, and we can now put this. Oh, hang on, we've got an earth there. We can desolder that earth, and let's just turn this to a position. I've got to be super careful. I mean, this is basically, to all intents and purposes, folks, this is a UA8. Basically, it's very similar to a UA8. Let's just get these input wires off. That's one. Shift it out of the way so it won't melt it. for the other one. And we want this earth off as well. There we are. Right. Now I need the deck. I need that deck out of that motorboard. And have I got a socket on the bench big enough to fit it? Because it does need to come out. This is very clean inside. No, that socket won't fit. Just shift some shit a minute. Find something that will fit. Let's try that one. I think I just did. I'm not sure. No, I didn't try it. I did try that, but it didn't fit. And what we'll do, where's the pliers? What we'll do, we'll get our pliers. Scraps! See, somebody's put a double screw on this. I just thought they didn't put fucking glue on them or anything. See, that's... Jesus! You're not supposed to put a double screw on. You're supposed to put a washer on them, not a double nut. So, let's take this one off. At least they haven't nailed the threads, all the threads up on it. And I didn't even see that transit screw there. That one's buried under here. I didn't even see that fucker. Right, that's two. One, sorry. There's only two in it, so I undone three. So if I undone three, what was the fucking third one holding down? Well, the third one's under there. And it doesn't actually go any to anything, it's just going to a spring. There's only two in it that actually hold it down. So if I put this up the other way, I've got to be super careful I don't want to cause any damage at all. Because the arm's made out of Bakelite. I wish it was metal, but it's not. Now, get the pliers on that one. What someone's done, they've double nutted it and tightened it all up, and it's made it a bit of a bastard to get it all undone. Oh, come on, you fucker. I know what I'll do. Where's my other pair of pliers? There's some really old ones I've got, because they've got really good grip on them. Fucking on here somewhere, but there they are. So if I get that, we get the small ones, the thin ones in there, like that. And I can hold the deck there. Get them in there. Get these ones onto that one. Just get the fucking nut loose. Jesus, try it the other way. It's the only problem when you're fucking left-handed. There's no signature in this. If there was, probably well gone. Because like I say, someone's been in here before me. And I wouldn't be surprised to find that it's been recapped. But we'll see when we get it. When we get the amp out. I haven't made my mind up yet whether I'm going to look at the amp first or look at the service deck first. I've not made my mind up yet. Look it now. I think that's got it. No, it fucking hasn't. You bastard. try this screwdriver. I just need to, yeah, that fits the slot perfectly. What they've done is put a double nut on them fucking. Who did you get to fucking swing on the fucking nuts? Fucking King Kong? Look at that. For fuck's sake. That is being a bit of a pain. I mean, I might have to resort to the fact to go and get 2 fucking spanners. I don't think I've got 2 spanners to fit them. But, clip that back on there. Right, well, I'll get this one in here. This is a good screwdriver. It does fit the hole correctly. Bloody fucking hell. Fucking A. Why did they put 2 fucking nuts on the bastards and then swing on them? Who'd they get to tighten the fucking nuts up? King Kong? And the problem is, I don't really have a great choice of fucking spanners. Not in here anyway. It's alright having fucking spanners, but it's finding the bastard and things. That doesn't fit. It's only a fraction too small, but a fraction too small is fucking too small, no matter how you look at it. Is anything else in there I might get it with? Somebody's tightened that up and made sure it weren't fucking coming undone. But where's the spanner? I think that's too fucking small. Oh, for fuck's sake, one extreme of the fucking other. There won't be any in there, it's just parts. None in there. Oh well, it's a case of what I'm going to do, I'm going to hang it over there. See, the problem is getting on. Right, well, we've got it out, I hope. So let's lift that, there we go. Got it free of the motorboard, so what we'll do, pop the motorboard down here out of the way, pop that there, and there should be a thrust washer on the top of there. Is it on the turntable? Might be on the turntable. There should be a thrust washer on the top of that door race, I think. There usually is. I'll just put the deck down here for a minute. Right, well, what we'll do to start with, we'll start on the UA, on the BSR Monarch. We'll service that. Tell you what, you know, look, them catches weren't made nicely then. Not like the shit they make nowadays. I mean, even every part of this record player is bad. There we go. Turn it the other way so the grill isn't facing me. That way, if I turn around in my chair, I won't accidentally put my fucking foot through it. There we go. Right. Now, just see where our thrust washer is. That could explain all that noise. it's there stuck on the top of the turntable, so it was there. That all needs a good clean. Put the turntable out of the way because we're not going to store his parts in his turntable like I normally do. We're going to store the parts in the turntable I've got here, 4 parts for storing parts in. Now, this is very, very similar to Graham's, except Graham's is not an auto changer. Let's bring you down a little bit now. We can come down a bit, I think. We can find the fucking control. There it is. There's the remote for the... Bring you fat fuckers down a bit. There we go. There we are. And we can zoom in a little bit as well. You can see more of what I'm doing. Right. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with YouTube blocking my bloody video that I put up last night in certain areas, certain countries. You know, it's getting bad now. It's fucking... I think we should consider leaving YouTube. And let's just get this clip off. You can normally do that with a fucking thing, but this is one of the early ones. There we are. This is what Graham's should have, but Graham's is missing. It had a piece of fucking solder on his. There we go. Lift the idler off. And there's your speed mechanism. Check the motor. The motor's nice and free. It has a little cam on the motor here. And that little cam basically knocks it down to 78. Right, so we want the thrust bearing out. That all has to come out. If I can get the fucking damn thing out, I might have to take the whole fucking mechanism apart. We're going to do that anyway, so I may as well leave it there for a minute. So, where do we start? We start, even that tone arm nut's not the original, it's too new. You know, it's just things that give things away. I mean, that spring there, we could do with checking the weight when we put it all back together. But this is very UA80. It's you know, it's made up of UA8 parts really. I mean, well, it's made up of, or should I say the UA8 is made up of these parts that are in this thing. So what we'll do, we'll disconnect the wires for the tone arm, and we'll actually pull the mechanism. There we go. Get one off and the other fucker solders itself back on. Right, so that's right. We've got a piece of whatever that is, fucking piece of string there. That piece of string is going to be got rid of because I won't get the tone arm wires through. There we go. 60 odd year old piece of string. Yeah, there we go. Get that out because we don't want that finding its way back into there. Uninvited. Now let's get the tone arm off and get that safely stowed, because the tone arm on this, I would hate to have to find a replacement. And if I must be honest, I am nervous. Is that all coming out as one unit, or is the nut coming off? Yeah, it's coming out as one unit, that. There we go. round this side because we need, there we are, that's the arm off. We need the spring off there. There we go. Oops, oops. Put that there. Tried to get off there, didn't it, that spring, and that goes, so I have to remember certain things. Now what I want to do is put the tone arm safely out of the way, so I'm going to put that, actually I'll put that in his turntable. There we go, that's safe up there. Take anything else off that can be broke. I would rather not get damaged. That armrest there, that's one of those daft clips. And I'm not in the mood to start pulling them off, so I'm going to leave it. The control knobs, or control knob, that one, oh, that will come off nice and easy, didn't it? It's got a grub screw in it. Oh, that's novel. Look at that. You put your knob in position and then you tighten it with that. That's neat. Right there. This one just lifts off, and it shouldn't do. It should have a grub screw that runs all the way through it, which I'm probably about to discover is missing. Yeah, because it's got a hole going right the way through here. Yeah, yeah, there's a hole running right the way through, which means the grub screw's missing. Right, that there's a captive part. This knob, however, isn't. That'll come off in short order. The tone arm mechanism needs to come off. The gimbal, rather, as they call it, needs to come off. And I'm going to watch out for ball bearings, because I think these have got ball bearings in them. I'm not sure, but I better watch out because it feels nice, that. So better watch out for ball bearings falling out. And also watch out for the arm, for the top just flying off and going boing everywhere. Now, will this lift off as a complete unit and stay in one piece, or am I just jerking off? Because it would be nice if that lifted off as a complete unit, but it doesn't. That comes off there. That spring comes off there. That washer comes off there, and obviously that doesn't come off there because that is part of the arm mechanism. That's where it all bolts on, so that's where it has to, so that has to stay there because the thread's in there as well. Now, get my socket. 9BA should fit it, and that's not a 9BA. That is a 9BA. The actual end of the tool happens to be the right size to fit them. Yeah, it's a real treat to work on this. I've not done one before, like I say. I mean, there's washers on here, I'll scrape them up. I just heard something drop onto the bench. What have we got onto the bench? We've got a screw, which is the screw for that also. What was that holding in? The motor switch, which needs to come out anyway, and that's the other one on this side. That's that's it, that's the motor switch out. And we'll take a look at the switch and stuff in detail because it looks pretty good. Right, so but he did say a funny clunking. What's this one undoing? Oh, it's all fucking separate screws on this. It's undoing the mech anyway. It is a mech screw, so we needn't worry too much. Make sure I catch all the screws because they all seem to be, we don't have any of this modern captive rubbish on this, it's all old school. That there's the motor, I believe. Yeah, we don't need that undone yet. That there's the motor, that's the motor. Oops, there we go. And this is, yeah, he was saying about a clicking sound or something he was hearing, so see if we can determine what's causing that when it was playing. So, but it's worth pulling apart anyway because A, I've never done one, and B, we're all learning, aren't we? And I think that one there might have something. No, that doesn't have anything to do with holding the mechanism in. Let's get the motor undone, the motor and the speed mechanism. That looks like it'll all come out in one unit just by undoing their nuts. So let's get them undone and get this out as well. It's all going to be overhauled, so it makes no difference. And luckily all the screws are the same. They're all the same screw, all the same length, and all the nuts are all the same. So that was really good. Good thinking on BSR's point, on BSR's behalf there. So what am I doing? Struggling with that, and it's fucking, I've got a fucking driver, a nut driver. There we go. This is coming to, this is coming apart super easy. I mean, he was saying he's got another one of these decks. He bought it thinking the mat was okay, but the mat on it's petrified. You know, it's gone to shit really. But I'll get this apart, pause the video, have a brew and a fag, and get back to it. Now, that's the motor undone. Now let's have a look at disconnecting the speed linkage. Let's put that control arm back over there for a minute because we don't need that getting in our way. That switch, we'll talk more about that after. That's if it is actually a switch, I would imagine it is. Yeah, it's some sort of switch. Yeah. So I want to get there's the motor, and there's your speed linkage, that's where it connects to. I mean, this has got loads of grease on it. So this was serviced, yeah, not long ago probably. But put the motor out of the way there. That's your motor and your speed linkage. This is very, let's take that spring pull off there. If that spring pulls off there, I'm pulling it off. No, it won't, so we're okay, we can leave that as it is. Now, we want this out of here. And, true to form, a BSR, I put a screw in the back. I can't believe the trouble I had liberating the fucking deck from the fucking motorboard. That was a real pain. That's the only screw that's not the same as the rest of them. It's thicker and shorter, like it's stubby. So that should go up there and it should come out the same way as a UA8 does. There we go. And then this, put that there a minute. This, ew. Fucking put grease everywhere, even on a fucking spring. Right. So where's the spring? Where's the best place to hung up the spring from? And the best place is probably there. That's it. And that should give us our mechanism. This will all get cleaned because there's too much grease. Ooh, it's just horrible to handle. It's not nice. I mean, whoever did it put way too much on. So what we'll do now, we'll put the deck. Whoops. Make sure that spring doesn't come off the other end. No, it doesn't. It's no. I don't want it falling off and getting lost. That'll be okay. That. Let's put the deck here. Will this come out? Nope. Not without effort. So we'll leave that as it is, and that's there as an old original grease. And that's your, what do you call it, folks? Isn't it very UA8 that? I mean, that's not even supposed to have grease on it, that. That's the velocity trip lever. That is not supposed to be greased, and neither is all this lot here. This is all supposed to be dry. So, you know. But what we'll do, we'll leave this as it is for now. I'm going to have a fag and a brew will come back. But that's basically your mechanism from your Monarch. The original BSR Monarch. And very simple device it is as well. I mean, there's nothing complicated. Brilliant. Top one BSR. Hi folks, and welcome back. Right, basically what we're going to do today, we're going to finish the BSR Monarch. Basically it had an issue where when you put it on to reject, it would actually, when you put it on to reject, basically the arm would fly to the 7-inch position before the mechanism even told it to, and I've got to re-grease this all up now because I've cleaned it all, and so I've got to reapply grease and stuff because I cleaned it all to try and work out the fault. Anyway, if I go through the mechanism now, if I simulate, this is now reject. Turn this round if I can one-handed. There we go. And there's a little pin. If I zoom in, I'll show you what I'm going to talk about. This is one to watch out for. I don't think my little thing will lift up because I don't think there's enough juice in it to move it. Yeah, it'll go down a little bit for me. Right, that's the velocity trip lever. That's not going back in for a few minutes. Basically, you've got this. If I put this back onto here, you see, I'm trying to find my hooker so I can use it to point. Right, you see this round pin here. Now that passes through, and it comes through, and it sticks out the top here, and it stops the tone arm. Yeah, it stops the tone arm, the bottom of the tone arm unit from moving back, which this bit here detects the size. It's connected to the Magidisc selector. Now, what was happening was, if I put it into reject, which is this, if you see this, now you see that bar, that lever there move off that pin. Now you'd expect that pin to come down. And what was happening was, that pin was coming down because the spring on it was fucked and was a bit gnarled up and everything. And what happens is, that pin is supposed to stay held in place until the record cycle, until the mechanism tells it to move. So if I hold it here, if I can, and you might just see the pin drop. So if I rotate the mechanism by hand, and remember, rotate anti-clockwise because that's the way it goes, you'll see the arm pivot move when the pin drops. There you go. And that's now taken the arm over to the 7-inch position. Now, if I bring the arm, if I press this lever here, which this toggle connects to, goes to the control arm. So if I simulate the record stop, the record has been played and the arm, the mechanism is doing a reject cycle, it'll do a turn off cycle. You see that pin pops back up, and it holds this part of the arm mechanism. Oh, hang on, I've got my finger in the wrong place. It holds this part of the arm mechanism here. It holds this part here where it should do, which is right. Now, when I release, if I release the pin, now what this was doing was, as soon as I switched it to reject, which I'll switch to reject, and this is what it was doing. Straight away, and it flicks a whole lot across. And what it was doing, it was flicking this to the 7-inch position, or wherever this might be, to that position, mainly 7-inch because this is always up. And that's because the spring, because the spring was that badly worn, and that's gone, that the spring had actually gone stiff, so it couldn't actually hold it. So what I've done, I've taken the spring from a UA8 and replaced it. The pin's the same, I've just replaced the spring, and that has cured the problem. Now if I push that back up, see it pops down on its own now, and that's no friction there whatsoever. That's lovely. And if I put that against it, see, and if I bang it even, that's how it should be. It should not flick, and it doesn't. It moves down a little bit, you know, but not excessively. And at the end of a record, if I simulate the end of a record, if I can, I turn this, you'll see this lever pop back up onto this, and it pushes it up. There we are. Now we get round to there, round to there, and that's rest. And that's done. And that's all that was wrong with it, that spring. And it's been driving me nuts for about 2 days. Trust me. I've been pulling my hair out, I've had it in and out and everything. I've had the whole mechanism in bits. Trust me folks. And it's been a real pain. But I finally got it there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to zoom back out and I'm going to show you the lubrication points. I've already lubricated that pin and this part of the arm mechanism, oh pardon me, is all down here, has been done. This bearing carrier here has been, the thrust bearing carrier here, that has been repacked with grease and that's ready to go. So what we'll do now, we'll lift you up a bit, I think, if we can. I think I need to charge this thing up. No, that's the wrong way. That'll do. Alright, there we go. So what I need to do next is put my glasses back on, that would help. So what I need to do next is just slacken off this here, which is the pole resetter, so reset spring as they call it. So we'll just pull that off for a minute because we want the gear off. There we go. You don't have to undo that a lot, just slacken it. Right, bear with me folks. Right, so basically what we want to do next, we get into a position. There we go. Right, so what I want to do, I want to take the clips back off here. Move these remotes out of my way. And we've got everything needed to reassemble this, obviously. Right, so what I'll do, I'll pull that off. Oh, we're already greased under there. I'd already greased it, I forgot. I thought I'd cleaned it all under there, I haven't, so we're okay. We can put that back on, we're already greased under there. You give it a liberal coating of heavy grease under there, by the way. If I turn this round, it'll just click into place. There we go. Back into the rest position. Now, put the clip back on. Do you know, folks, I'm so near. So glad I'm getting to the end of doing this Monarch. Never thought I'd struggle with a BSR Monarch, you know, but sometimes yes. And the easy way to work out which way this goes in, there's a witness mark here where this has rubbed up it for all them years. So you put it, hang on, then you drop it all over the place, and you want to be careful you don't bend this. So I'm happy that's perfectly straight, or straight as perfect as it can get. And basically what you do, you've got like a chamfer on that end there, and that goes in that way up, and the witness marks are on the back. You just slide that back into where it came from. Jiggle it down. I mean, you could probably even, there we are, you could probably even slacken the screw off a little bit more. There we are. To just and that's make sure that it's all clipped in, which it is. So what we'll do next, it was clipped in, is now make sure it's level with that, hold it together while trying to hold the nut, and then just, there we are. Then bring this round, make sure it just hits it to reset it, and that's on the wrong side. So all you do is just make an adjustment, just push it down slightly. So we'll go through that again, flick that out, make sure it stays flicked out, and make sure, as you can see, that runs on the inside and it resets it. Let me just check how much clearance we've got there. Not a great deal, I'd like a bit more than that. Because I don't want it so that it can never come the wrong way, wrong side, because it is always possible that could happen, like there, look. See, that's on the wrong side of it now. There's not a lot of clearance there, so we'll just push it down slightly to get the clearance we want. There we go. Right. See how we get that now. Let's straighten that. We are a bit bent. No, we're not now. Lovely and straight, and make sure that it always hits that on the right side. We want that fully out, and then we want it fully. Now let's have a look at there. Oh yeah, actually that's perfect. It's right. The pawl is right at the top of the witness mark where you want to see it, so that's absolutely bang on. That's where it should be. That's perfect. Put this back in the rest position. Then what we do, we apply a little bit, not a lot. Not a lot. You don't have to go mad. We apply a little bit of grease on the back side of this pawl, this velocity, terminal velocity, velocity, what's it called? My mind's not with it today, folks. Velocity lever, yeah, it does have a name. Yeah, that's working lovely. And we did have a circlip for that. We still have a circlip for that. So basically that will hit the right, so what else do we need to look at applying a bit of grease to? We need to apply a bit of grease to this slide here and to this slide here. A bit of grease, not too much, don't go overboard. Now, just turn it over and we'll apply a little bit on this hinge here, a little bit on here, a little bit on here, a little bit in here, only a little bit. A little goes a long way. Don't apply anything to that pin there. I don't apply an out to that because it doesn't need it. I did actually give it a little bit of oil. That's all I give that pin. A little bit of oil because we don't want it gumming up and deciding that it doesn't want to work anymore. So get a bit on this slide here, there we go. And that's pretty much the mechanism lubricated. So what I'll do, I'll turn it a couple of times, or let's just get a bit on this. This pin here. There we go. Now we'll do turn the mechanism a couple of times just to work everything in. Just put a little bit on the top of this here. Only the smallest touch, not a lot. Give it a bit of a... Right. And that, folks, move this out of the way because this is my own stuff. From when I was taking the UA6 apart to borrow a spring, because I borrowed a spring off one of my own UA8s, which I will replace when I do get round to doing that player that it belongs to. So that's the all this put back together. Make sure all the crap hairs and fluff and stuff, that's a scratch. Right, you don't lubricate the actuation pole, that remains dry. We'll make sure the nut on the top is tight, it is. And we'll just run the mechanism one more time to make sure that everything is okay. And it helps to use both hands. And you're doing this, and the pin, that pin's got some shit on it now. There we go. And there we go. And that is done. That is how it's done. So what we'll do next, we'll move the grease, move my fag papers. There's the turntable for this, so we'll just pop the turntable there for a minute. We'll get the mechanism itself, and we shall attempt to reunite this. We shall attempt to reunite both of these together and see if the fucker actually works, because this has been a right pain. I mean, this is, I don't struggle with these decks, but this particular one I did, and that has to go that way because it can't go the other way because it gets hung up. So, whoops, put that in the right way, there we are. And as Arkwright would say, jiggle it a bit. Yeah, just give it a bit of a jiggle. I want that fucking lever to drop down. Come on, you cunt. Because it's... There we are. Right, so what we'll do next is take our screws. Yeah, there's a couple of differences between this and the UA8. In the UA8, they're not nuts and bolts, just screws, and they're screwed in directly into the base plate. And this is a bit of a pain in the ass to get in, because there's a spring in the way. You bastard. Gotcha, you cunt. Yeah, it was a bit perplexing this, to be honest, but we got there. All because of a bloody dodgy spring. I mean, the spring didn't it didn't act up when it first came in. It was only after it was serviced and everything moved a lot freer, it decided that it wanted to be a bit of a pain in the ass. But you know, because everything could move a lot freer, that's when it decided, the fault decided to show itself. But we've got it, we've fixed it. But you know, I've learned a lesson from it. I've got a cartridge I want to test as well, a BSR full 5 cartridge. I want to test it, see if it's any good. I don't think it is, but I want to test it. It come in a Portadyne record player I got the other day, which is in a bit of a 2 and 8. Right, get the screw in the back, and now I'm really convinced of this, aren't I, folks? Because I'm even putting the screw in the back and everything. I'm committed. Screwdriver. I was going to say, why have I got 2 spacers there? One of them's off the other UA8. You fucker. Right, now all we need to do, I do these from the outside because they're easier to get to. Put my finger on that and didn't nip up with no problem. There we go. There we go. Right, now before I put the arm on, because I've got to take the nut off the top there to put the arm on. Before I put the arm on, let's find our knobs. This fucking knob keeps coming off it, you know. And no matter how I tighten it, it still comes off. Right. See, that's nice and tight now, and it'll work its way off. Don't ask me why, just does. So what we'll do now, we'll put the turntable back on. Push the idler into place, there we go. Now, the arm is technically on its rest, where it needs to be. Go to automatic. We'll first try it with no records. That's auto, which is what we expect. And there we are. Oh, it's going to go over in it because I've not connected that spring. Do you know something? I ask you lot to help me out here and you don't, do you? I say to you lot, can you let me know of that and remind me of that spring, and you don't. You don't, you leave me to it. You know. There we go. No, the springs are the wrong fucking way around. You fucking hell. That's the right way. Oh. That's it. Right. I think that's a bit baggy, that, to be honest. Well, it's not baggy. Just take that back off. Right. Right, how's that ended up round that way? How's that end up that way? That's weird. Because that... I don't know how that's ended up like that. The springs just fell off, we'll get that back in a second. I don't know how that's ended up there, getting over there. But... oh, I know. That's it. That's how it is. Right. There's the spring. So if I let that go again, whoops, put that in there, because it's easier to fucking feed it in like that. Might be easier. Put this side in here, yeah, and close this side off so it can't jiggle back out. Yeah. And then bring that round. this over that side. It's a pain, isn't it? So I want that side. So I'll lift that up there, and that's, yeah, that's right. And I want this. That's right. And I want to connect this. There we go. That's took the bagginess out of it, hasn't it? I wonder if that would be better the other way, because I don't want it fouling on that spring. Yeah. So that's that way. Yeah, because I don't want it the other way. Because I don't want it fouling on that spring. It's been a couple of days in the making, this video, folks. It's been a couple of days in the making. Tighten this one down a bit. I don't want things coming off, because this part of the mechanism goes pretty baggy. So we don't want it. There we go. We don't want it. That'll do. That part of the mechanism goes pretty baggy. There we go. I'll fucking do. Right. That's it. There we are. That's it. There we go, that's that. It's now out of the way of the spring. Right. Right, lift this back down. The idler back in. Now, that's there, so now, hold it up. There we go. Turns off like it should, and let's pop a record on. Let's go to reject. Drops down, and the arm goes over to 7-inch, gets to the end, lifts up, comes back, switches off. And all it was a fucking little spring, oh, that big. That's all it was. That's all it was. And it was a bastard. But you know me, folks. You know, here at Vintage Electronic Repair, we never give up. Or I never give up, should I say. And in a minute I'm going to test that cartridge, because I've got a feeling I'm going to be using that cartridge in this, because the original cartridge for this is fucked. It's down on one channel, so I'm going to try and use this cartridge. If not, then the cartridge that was with this, because it's fucked on one channel, the good channel I'll try and get out in one piece and rebuild into another cartridge. See how we can do with that. But I'm really glad and I'm really happy that I've actually been able to solve this, because to be honest it was I mean, it's simple. I mean, I can do these on the breakfast table, but you know, when you get a fault like that you've never had before. I mean, the only reason why it wasn't playing up when Phil actually was using it is because the thing was all gunked up anyway, and that pin was stiff in the hole, and when I freed everything up, of course it all, yeah, the fault manifested itself, and I was looking all over the place, thinking, what have I done? What have I, have I lost any? I don't know. Have I lost something? Have I missed something? But I hadn't, and I've retracked my steps and everything. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. While we're doing fuck all, or very little of fuck all, let's pop this cartridge out of this arm, get the signal generator warmed up, signal tracer warmed up rather, and we'll hopefully turn the tracer on. It's a good signal tracer this. It only cost me a £5 at Goulburn. Well, it's not really a signal tracer, it's a null indicator, but I use it as a signal tracer because it works well in that application. Now, are we alive or are we dead? Are we alive or are we dead? We don't know yet. The stylus is fucked, but I would say we're alive. So that's what's going in Phil's record player. So I'm going to replace it with that and two TC8 styli, and that's what's going back in. So the next job is to fit the tone arm. Then this can be put out of the way then while I service the amplifier in the Dansette. But this, honestly folks, this has been a real, and I mean, it's been a real pain in the ass to sort this one. All because of one spring. That's all it was. One lousy bloody spring, and you think to yourself, you know. I was going to say the turntable doesn't have to cut. Well, what I'm going to do, so I don't lose it, I'm going to put the turntable clip back on so I don't lose it or forget about it. So we'll push that back on because do you know what I had given to me today, folks? I got given an HMV Stereo Master radiogram, which, as you know, is an FM radio with a record player. It's got a lovely Garrard in. I can't remember what model, I've not looked at it closely. But I looked at it close enough to see that it's still got the guard on the stylus. So I'm actually wondering, has it ever played a record in its life? Or did somebody at some time put a new cartridge in it and didn't play any records on it after that? Or was somebody careful enough to put the stylus cover back on every time they moved it from one place to another? I don't know, but I'm going to treat it as a new stylus because it's got the stylus guard on. And I played a record on it and it sounded okay. It needs servicing. I mean, it doesn't work properly, but you know, we'll get that done. The right channel's got a big hiss on it and the FM radio isn't working, so you know, that's that's something for you to look forward to in the future when I recap that. And the noise won't be a cap, it'll be a noise that I wouldn't have thought. I think that'll be a noisy transistor. Shut up, Scraps, it's outside. Out. Right. So everything's been lubricated, everything's nice and smooth. Just finish me fag and then get this thing back together. Get the arm back on. I know the videos took a few days, like I say, because you know, I wanted to find the fault. To be honest, I wanted to find the fault off camera because I find if you're looking for a fault, then it's easier to find the fault off camera rather than on, and then you can speak about it and explain it once you've got there. So here's the tone arm for this particular unit. We want the tone arm spacer, and these should be the same size. Basically, all they are really. They're just a washer, a black anodised washer. So what we'll do, we'll take that off there, because that's the retaining nut. Take that off. In! Get the spring. Put the spacer in. Oh, hang on. We've got to feed the tone arm wire down through the bottom, through the back, and it's easier to do it now rather than later. So we just feed that down. feel the wires. Right, I can feel the wires, I know they're down there, so I'll be able to get them back out afterwards. I'll be able to get them to where I need them. So I'll just feed the rest of it down, because I know they've gone down there, I could feel them. Get our spring. Put the arm onto the mount. Or the gimbal as it's sometimes called. Hang on. There we go. That there. And that through there. Come on. This is the correct spring. That's it. Put that there, which is where it goes. Get the nut, or bearing as BSR call it. Put that on there. Now basically folks, it's just a case of jiggling everything about so that everything, will I be able to get it on the first time? I never do. No, that's not going on. Let's just find something to push that spring forward. There we go. Usually takes a couple of tries to get this thing on, because you have to get it exactly right. Smooth that. We're actually out of position there, so we need to just move this so that we can move that into position. There we are. We're still not in, I thought we were there. It's basically you have to jiggle it about and that's moved out of position again. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to undo this screw because I can set the set down point up at a later date. At least I will if I can find a bloody thin screwdriver. If not, I think my thin screwdriver's in the other room. Yeah, that one won't fucking fit it. No. Mind, we shall persevere. Out! It's too early. Jeez. You've got to move that. I'm getting the screwdriver into that now. So I need to lift that back out slightly. And that screw has to go in front of that. that screw has to go there, and it keeps moving out of the way. It's about a pain in the arse to get in, but it'll do it. There we go. Now let's see where it needs to come back. So it needs to be pulled, so that the arm mount needs to be pulled back. There we go. And the spring needs to go forward. There we go. It's like trying to do two things at once. That's got it. So what we'll do now, we'll put the pliers on it, tighten it up. Might better get that down a bit further with my fingers first. There we are. There we go. That's the arm back on. Now, should we try it? Dare we? That's yep. So far, so good. Let's try it with a record. The reason why that bounced off is because the cartridge wires, we pulled it off the edge. There we go. Shove them up there out of the way. Let's just see if we're, because I can actually make the adjustment. Oh no, I can't, can I? Because my small screwdriver's not in here, unless it's under here. No, it's in the other room. I've got one in my drawer here. That's a Phillips one. Got a screwdriver here, this might do it. So I want to take the screw in a bit. And that won't turn because of the let's put the mat on it. Caught it, there we go. Drop, and over you go. Right, so we're too far into the middle there. So, bring it out a little bit. That seems right. it's going to come off too soon, and the reason why is because I've, what do you call it, moved it with my hand, and I'm not holding it level or anything. So we'll try again. But the mechanism is working now, so I'll just rest that on the top there so it doesn't have to drop the record. In fact, what I can do, put it on manual, and what I'll do, I'll spin it backwards a little bit, and that'll reset the trip. Or at least it should. Shut up! I'm holding it as level as I can. Well, it didn't lift off, but it did that time. That might be because I pushed it back. Let's try. Problem is, what about this battery? Would this be alright to support it with? Yeah. Let's try again. See, it's not flinging the arm out now. Right, so we're too far in. So we need to come back out. Try it that far out. What's lifting off of it because I'm pushing it through. So there's no way of doing it any other way. Let's see how it drops onto the record this time. The mechanism's certainly working smooth. Well, the set down point's okay. Too soon. Too soon. It's because I'm pushing it through. And I've got no power in it at the moment. Well, no, I haven't got a power lead to connect it, so I'm having to keep doing it this way. There we go. See if it'll do it this time. I mean, once it's got the right voltage going through and stuff, once it's running on its own, it'll work every time. I just want to demonstrate it. And that's because I pushed it, reset the thing, you see. And what I'll do is turn the cartridge on its side so I've got no stylus in there. Put the arm back up, put the arm there. And I can move it. And that didn't work because it slid straight across. Move it in slowly. It's not coming off early this time. There, straight to the end and off. And then the mechanism started before that hit the label. It started about when that was about here. So yeah. Phew! Thank fuck for that. Right. Clip the arm down because we're not going to deal with the cartridge yet. That feels okay. Time for a brew, I think, folks, and put this thing out of the way. Well, that, although the video might be a bit sketchy, that is Phil's UA6 Monarch serviced. Thank fuck for that. We've got a cartridge here to go with it. We'll put that up there out of the way. And I've got a cartridge holder for that to go into, so we're not worrying about that. And am I fully zoomed in there, or do I have the ability to zoom out? Oh, look at that. Yeah, there we go. That is the UA6 rather, which I believe was the very first incarnation of the Monarch auto changer. There we go, folks. That mat looks very depressing. Doesn't look so wrong, doesn't it? But I'm going to try and make it look a bit better than that. I'm going to trim the mat down to roughly the size of the turntable if I can. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go around this, probably around this edge here, and trim it to here. And you'll have about that much of the turntable showing, which would generally happened anyway, because I don't have a mat for one of these. I've got a nice one for the UA8, but I can't bring myself to part with it because I've got the UA8 belongs to. It's just got to be reassembled. It's down here. It's got to be reassembled, but it's got to be serviced as well. So basically what I've done, I've killed two birds with one stone. I've taken this apart, I've taken mine apart, and I borrowed a part from it to put in here because it's, you know, getting this done is more important than getting my UA8 done. So, you know, and this is done now. No longer does the arm, when you put it on, that's what it should do. But what it was doing when I was doing that, the arm was going straight across the 7 before the turntable even got going. at the speed it should. And that was all down to a little itty bitty spring. And like I say, the only reason why it never failed is because it had drag on it. Because there was gunk inside the pin. There was gunk inside the pin, and inside the hole that the pin goes into. But when I cleaned all that, that's when it started acting up. And if I hadn't cleaned that, it would have never have acted up. But saying that, if I hadn't cleaned it, it wouldn't have acted up. But if I hadn't cleaned it, it wouldn't have been right. And we like to have things right here at Vintage Electronic Repair. I mean, you know, I don't do bodge ups here. I don't do second best work here. I do the best that is of my ability. I do the best that I'm capable of doing. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, only the best will do. Anyway, folks, I'm going to leave that there. I'm really excited that I've got this I keep saying UA8, UA7, UA6 even. I'm really pleased I've got this UA6 sorted out. And thank God, that's what I always say, thank God. I mean, it was a real pain, and just because of one spring, it just shows you what can happen just with one spring not being right after you've done the service. So I put it all back together and realised that it had the fault when I put it all back together, because I hadn't checked it before putting it together. I can do these in me scraps. I can do these in me sleep, you know. So I never test them. I never test the mechs until they're back together. Half the time, don't even run them through a cycle. You know, but I'll tell you what, I wish I had done with this one. I really wish I had done with this one, because it was a real, you know, if I'd have run it through the cycle, I would have spotted it immediately. Probably wouldn't have spent 2 fucking days on it, sorting it out. And it was only last night I thought, right, I'm gonna pull that pin out that I shown you before. I'm gonna take the clip off that pin and pull it out and have a look, and it was all gunked up. And well, it weren't gunked up last night, we fucking gunked up the other night when I pulled the fucking pin out. And but I thought the spring would be okay, but obviously it wasn't. Well, that was, the spring had gone hard, and therefore there was too much tension on the pin. There should only be the lightest of tension on that pin, because it's held in place by the bottom of the tone arm. It's held in place by the size detector for the tone arm. It's held in place by that, and because that puts pressure on it and holds it in place, and that's all it does. And as soon as the arm goes back and then forward, that pin drops down then, and it allows the arm to go over normally, rather than being thrown across before the mechanism even starts. Anyway, it's fixed. This can be put out of the way, and I can sort scraps out, and then I can sort the amplifier out. We'll get the bench tidied up in a bit, and then we'll get the amplifier on, and we'll get the Dansette back on and get the amplifier, and we'll have a look at that and replace the new valve, which is up there waiting. And someone's worked on the amplifier. I will say this: someone's worked on the amplifier, so I'm not expecting. I'm expecting to find that it's been recapped. But whoever recapped it left the original CAN capacitor in. So that's what I'm expecting to find. when I look at that, because the tone control caps have been done. Yeah. So if they've been done, then the others might have been. So, you know, if that's the case, then that's the case. It's it just means popping in the new rectifier, you know, and giving it a wipe down, and the cartridge and stylus go in, and it's done. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and more to come later. This is part 1 of the Dansette Senior service, by the way.